Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Welcome to all of you. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And if you're joining us after having attended one of our prior webinars or live seminars, we welcome you back and thank you all for being here today. I spoke to many of you yesterday, and some of you had already submitted some questions for today's event, and I will get to them during the course of the next 45 minutes. I would ask you that if you have questions, please use the Q&A button at the top left corner of your screen, and we'll go ahead and answer as many questions as possible. And so here's a welcome. At the core of marketing is the idea that it's intended to elicit a physical, measurable response. You don't just create and send newsletters or post updates or solicit feedback or plan events without some objective in mind and some goal in mind that your campaign is intended to achieve. So we often refer to the call to action as a part of your communication. The request for someone to join your mailing list, to visit your store, to sign up for your annual fundraising gala, because at the end of the day, that's what marketing really is all about. It's about getting someone with whom you, your business, or your organization has a relationship to take an action that will help your organization to succeed. This isn't really intended to educate specifically about goals and objectives. We have other sessions for that. And we're not going to talk about marketing principles or goals and objectives today. No, today we're here to talk about marketing campaigns, those collections of marketing activities that make up an effort intended to drive an action that leads to achieving a specific goal. And specifically, we'll be focusing on newsletters and announcements and their close cousin, social engagement. Simply put, these activities are primarily about communication and about connecting with your readers. But that doesn't mean they aren't also a great way to drive action. And today, we're going to talk about how you can deliver the most effective newsletters possible. We're going to be talking about 10 best practices and how to get the most out of your campaigns. And again, we're going to focus on newsletters and announcements. So first, I wanted to let you know that we're going to be sending a copy of this presentation to everybody who has attended. Here's my contact information, and as you can see, we are all over the web. We're using social media, we're using email marketing. Primarily, though, what I'd like you to come away with is if you are currently using email marketing, I am a Constant Contact authorized local expert. We're here to help you grow. And I hope that you'll not only connect with us on email, but you'll connect with us as well on social media. Here's a little bit about my background. Our clients over the last 14 years have included organizations like these. Many of those icons on the screen are organizations whose names you recognize. And also we've served dozens, actually hundreds, of small to medium-sized businesses and nonprofits. And as far as my background, I spent about 22 years at Motorola, a name many of you know, as well as Marriott, CVS, Caremark, and Datamax O'Neil. But really now we want to focus in on newsletters and announcements. But before we do that, I just wanted to alert you to the fact that Constant Contact has recently unveiled a whole bundle of services all tied together. Not only newsletters and announcements, but also offers and promotions, feedback and surveys, events and registrations. And if you're already a Constant Contact subscriber, you have access to all of those right there on your dashboard. So, what will we talk about during this webinar? Here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to give you some surprising facts about email. We're going to talk about 10 best practices. These are the things that you need to do to have the most effective email marketing campaigns possible. Also, the fact that email and social work together, and you really do need to use both. And then we'll talk about next steps. So, let me share with you a couple of recent studies. The first is some information that was revealed recently by the Content Marketing Institute. These are folks that study lots of different things related to marketing and specifically digital marketing. And what you see in this newsletter here is that the usage of email marketing continues to grow. That for virtually every kind of enterprise anywhere in the world, the use of email marketing hovers above 75%, and in some cases getting close to 90%. And of those organizations that are using email marketing, more than half, by a wide margin, consider it to be very effective. Here's another study that was done by a company called ExactTarget. And what ExactTarget found was that of all the channels that are used to market, 77% of consumers prefer to be marketed to via email marketing. And we'll talk about those reasons in just a moment. Here is what a recent Forbes article said, that customer acquisition via email has more than quadrupled in the last 4 years. Now, what makes that significant? It's the fact that social media has grown exponentially during this time. Facebook is now 10 years old, and yet email, which has been around forever, has seen more acquisition growth in the last 4 years. Also, customers who come to businesses via email tend to shop more and spend more. So clearly, that is a vote for email marketing. And so you ought to be glad that you're on this webinar today. So next, let's talk about campaigns and newsletters specifically. At its core, email marketing and marketing in general is about eliciting a physical and measurable response. And you really already know what that is in general, but here's the point. It's that 10, 15, 20 years ago, we used to throw things against a wall and hope they would stick. I know many of you have heard that vernacular before. But today, we have tools that enable us to see exactly what's working and what's not working. And we talk about it in terms of campaigns. We're not talking about simply sending out a newsletter or posting something on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and so on. We're talking about a campaign. This is something that makes you far more effective in your marketing when you think about it as more than just a standalone effort. So what is a campaign? A campaign has a push component, which is that you're pushing your content out, expecting to get a response, an RSVP, and that's the pull. So we're talking about a push and pull effort over a period of time, and that is the basis for a campaign. So now, let's talk about a newsletter. There are many different kinds of newsletters out there. They look something like this. They keep your audience in the know. They may be cards or announcements. It may be a business letter. It may be a press release. Or maybe it's a special offer in a custom code. Maybe it's a promo code that showed up in an email that you sent out. So let's go into best practices. Best practice number one is to demonstrate your expertise. And you may be saying to yourself, well, I'm not so sure I'm an expert on anything. Well, here's the fact. The fact is that you have a lot to write about. You have a lot of information about things you know that your audience doesn't know. Secondly, you have access to information that your typical reader does not have. And last, if you have writer's block, not to worry. Original is not required. Just be interesting and relevant. And what I mean by that is there is so much content out there on the web that if you find something of interest, bookmark it, and then use it in your newsletter. Always credit the source, never ever plagiarize. But if you can excerpt or take an abstract of something else that you found on the web, use it. Original isn't required. So what's next? The length of a newsletter. Best practice number 2, when we think about how much is enough in your email, who likes to get very long emails? Not very many of us. So think about it this way. Less is more. And stay focused. Just have a couple of articles, 2, 3, 4 at the max. Keep them short. Keep them focused. But also think about this. 51% of us check our email on a mobile device, a smartphone, an iPad, another kind of a tablet, which means that you need to be brief, you need to be high impact, and you need to remember that the average reader now, more than half, are looking at your email, newsletter, announcement, event registration, and so on a very small screen. Best practice number 3, using images. We've all heard that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Take a look at these examples. The one in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that the organization was featured in Time magazine, and the image just below it is actually a link to a video. That's the entire newsletter. The second one over is a restaurant that's featuring October specials. And there, the item that catches your eye is one of the dishes that they're featuring. And the one in the lower right-hand corner, that's pretty engaging in terms of its graphic. It's from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Asbury Park, New Jersey, promoting a very unusual evening. That's something that will get your attention and more than likely will get you to open their email. So, things to know. A picture gets 47% more click-through activity than content without images. But don't over-rely on images. And be sure to use text labels in case the images aren't displayed by the recipient's mail program. And what I mean by that is that most people, by default, do not see images. They have to activate the images. So you need to use text labels that indicate to an individual what the image is that they're not seeing unless they activate the images. Next, don't use images of your content. By that I mean, don't have a picture and overlay text on it. You don't know that that image is going to be activated, so your reader may miss the content of your newsletter. And lastly, remember that your content is being viewed on mobile devices. And so for that reason, you need to be thinking about your email showing up on a small screen. And to take a look at the image on the left, and what you'll see there is someone who has sent out an email, and there's a little red X in the upper left-hand corner. There's an image there that they haven't added a text label for, so you really have no idea what it is that they're referring to. The next one, A Most Unusual Evening, the image again looks really great, but where is the call to action? And on the third one, NB Fitness clearly is the organization, but you've got to scroll around the screen to see what they are trying to present to you. And the simple fact is, most people don't scroll to the bottom of the screen. In fact, the most recent data is that 78% of us do not scroll down to the bottom of an email. So remember that pictures work very well on many social media channels, and you want to use those images in your email, but be sure to remember the facts that we just talked about. Okay, best practice number 4, repurpose and reuse. So what do I mean by that? It means make your job simple. Take the messaging that you've created in your email and use it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, and so on. You don't have to go creating new content for each channel. Why? Because most of us are so busy that we don't have the time to go look around the web to see what else an organization has posted. So Take advantage of that knowledge and use it to your advantage and go ahead and reuse the content that you've already created. Now, best practice number 5, how do you get your newsletter open? That's really the challenge for so many people. And what you'll see over the next few minutes is that it's probably easier than you think. Here's why. Most of us make a judgment when something shows up in our inbox. I'm going to open it now, later, or not at all. Those may be 3 little words that rule your world. And I would make the case that for many of us, the decision is now or never. So that how do you get that email opened? You need to know a few facts. The first is we judge first, who is that email coming from? 61% of us judge whether to open up an email based on who it is from. 38% of us decide whether to open an email based on the subject line. And last, when you send your communication has a direct impact on how much your email is going to be open, what the percentage of opens is. So let's go back to the big one. 61% decide whether to open up an email based on who it's from. What we're really talking about here is winning the battle of priorities. So you want to be most recognizable. You should be using the same identity across every digital channel that you use. Email, LinkedIn, Instagram, Google+, and so on. Make sure you use the same name or company name everywhere on the web. And that helps you avoid the canned spam act. Next, look great. Look consistent. That's another key to getting your email opened. When someone takes a look at your email in the preview screen, you want it to be clean and crisp and something that entices someone to open it. Now, let's go on to the subject line. 38% of us are judging whether to open up an email based on your subject. And again, we're talking here about winning the battle of priorities. The priorities being we are all very, very busy. In general, we have about 2 seconds. That's the amount of time someone will take to decide whether to open up your email or not. So you've really got to get that call to action done in the first 2 words, maybe 3 words of your subject line, so that they go ahead and open up that email today. We call it the 2-2-2 principle. So here are a few examples of how you may win that battle of priorities. A subject line of March newsletter is not very enticing, I'm sure you'll agree. But a call to action of tomorrow, need 3 hammers, can you help? That might actually be something to get that newsletter of yours open. Joe's Pet Store newsletter, not terribly exciting, but how about with summer on the way? Alert, help your dog beat the heat. Or children's classes. Again, not terribly exciting, but the call to action here is still time. Openings available for children's classes. Next, it's when do you send the email? Well, the fact is that monthly, for most organizations, mostly monthly. And then you have to ask yourself, when are my readers most likely to take the action I want them to take? So it's easy to do a test. With email marketing, the cost is so low that what you can do at very low cost and very high efficiency is find your best day to send that email out. So how does that work? Well, take your list. Doesn't matter how big or how small. Divide your list into 3 groups of people. So let's say you have 300 email addresses in your master list, divided into 3 groups, 100 in Group A, 100 Group B, 100 Group C, and then select 3 days in the week to test it out. So maybe it's Monday, you send the Group A, Wednesday, you send Group B, and Saturday, for example, you send Group C. So go ahead and send that email out and then watch to see which day gives you the best response. Then find your best time. Use those same three groups of people, Group A, Group B, Group C. Select 3 times on the day that had the best results for you. And then send that email at 3 different times of the day, say 9 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 in the evening, as an example. And note the time that gives you the best results. So then you get to narrow in on what works best for your business. All of our businesses are different. So it will be different for example, business-to-business organizations versus business-to-consumer organizations. In my experience, business-to-business works best with emails. Again, this is in a general sense, from 10 to 3, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Not Monday, because everybody is facing a fire drill on that day. And not on Friday, because people have pretty well checked out for the weekend before they even come into work. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for most organizations works well. For consumer-type businesses, nonprofits, evenings and weekends seem to work best. But you really do need to try it for yourself. The caution, though, is don't be romanced by a high open rate. It's really the actions that you are trying to measure. That's what gets the cash register to ring. Let me show you an actual result. These are 2 emails that I sent out, one yesterday and one today. And here's an exploded view. This is an actual result 18 hours after the send. And as you can see at about mid-screen, this was sent Monday, yesterday, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And what we had so far at about 8 o'clock this morning, 26% had opened, 29%, nearly 30%, had clicked on something inside the email. Now this is after some extensive testing on this specific grouping. This happens to be an affinity group that gets an email newsletter from us once a month. And after doing a survey, I found out that they wanted to get the affinity. This is an alumni group. It's their newsletter that they wanted to receive on Mondays. And sure enough, 26% open. That was as of early this morning. As of not long ago, it was up to 28% opens and 31% click-through rate. So test it and see what works best for you. Best practice number 6 then is taking action on the results that you've achieved. This is another real-life example. I was asked to speak at a trade association not long ago. I was speaking on a Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock. The day before, I went to a networking activity for that group and collected a bunch of business cards. And early the next morning, a few hours prior to doing the presentation for them, I sent this email out, which very simply said, "Dear Ed, it was great meeting you yesterday afternoon. I hope you'll attend my email marketing workshop this afternoon." The reason for sending that out is that there were 4 sessions going on simultaneously. And I wanted to be sure we had as many people in the room as we could possibly get. And it worked. When you go to your account dashboard, that's where you get real-time rich information that you can act on right away. I sent that email out at 7 o'clock in the morning. And within 1 hour, nearly half of the people had opened up that email. I had a 47% click-through rate. Now, the main point here, and this is where most organizations don't take advantage of the power of their email marketing dashboard, is that number, that blue number that's circled in red, the number 8, if you click on that number, those are warm leads. Those are the people that actually opened up the email. If I had had something in the email they could click on, those would give me even warmer leads, because these are people that not only found value enough in the email to open it, but then to click on it as well. I encourage you to take advantage of all of that rich data that's in your email marketing dashboard. Okay, best practice number 7. Look at your dashboard and see what's working and see what's not. Take a look at the graph on your reports tab, because this will give you the percentage of people that opened up your email. That is represented by the solid green line versus the dotted blue line, which is your industry average. So in this case, you can see that our open rate is dramatically higher than that for our industry average, in this case for marketing consultants. Also, the solid orange line is the percentage of people that clicked on something inside the email. The dotted red line is the industry average. So you can see there too that most of the time we are way above the industry average for marketing consultants. So here's some practical advice. Remember that 67% of people do not see images by default. That text links get far more clicks than buttons do. Be sure that you place your logo left or center in the email, but don't have it take up too much space. We all tend to get enamored by our own logos, but our audiences don't. Also, be sure you include your company name in the text of your email. The reason for that is that if someone does not have images activated, they won't see your company logo, and therefore they may not know where that email is coming from. So be sure that you do have the company name listed in the text of your email. Next, make sure that your key action is above the scroll line. Again, remember that 77% of people do not scroll down to the bottom of an email. Next, don't give too many choices. People get paralyzed when they have too many choices, and they will do nothing. Make sure that all the images in your email are clickable and have text labels there as well. And then go ahead and test it on yourself. Send yourself a test email and check it not only on your desktop machine, but on your mobile device as well, to be sure that it's presenting well. 78% of us will unsubscribe if we get an email that does not look well on our portable or mobile device. Best practice number 8, integrate social media with your email campaign. This is more important than many people realize. So we'll spend the next moment talking about email and social. About 6 years ago, only 10% of small businesses and nonprofits were using social media marketing. That number has changed radically. 87% of small businesses and nonprofits now use social media marketing. It really does influence decisions. Nearly 3/4 of us rely on social networks to guide purchase decisions. 55% of us share purchases on our social networks. If you've ever purchased anything on Amazon, one of the first things you may do is check the reviews from other people who have made similar purchases. And then 68% take the time to learn more about a charity if they see a friend posting about it. So you really do need to use both. Social media amplifies your email, and it drives traffic back to your list. So it grows your email list, it grows your social followers. Make a point to use email and social. Here's an example of a restaurant in the Boston area, and they use email predominantly. That's the anchor of all of their digital marketing. And they supplement that working together with YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, and so on. I had an experience not very long ago where I attended a meeting in the Boston area, and I wanted to leave the hotel and take a quick break, and I walked down the street, and there was a Boloco, and at 10 o'clock at night, the Boloco was packed. Here's an example of nonprofits, the Girl Scouts of Northeast Texas. They use email marketing and social together very, very well. And here's an example of Liberty Tax. This is a tax prep franchise similar to H&R Block. Again, another organization that uses email and social together, and they work very, very well together. Let's talk about best practice number 9, and that is, how do you expand your campaign reach? If you're a Constant Contact user, you've got some terrific tools built right into your email marketing platform. Use social sharing, which enables you to extend your reach using your social networks so that you can post your newsletter simultaneously on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And as a side note, I will tell you that for those who registered for today's event, about 40% came in and registered through sources other than email. They found us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, web searches, press releases, and so on. So take advantage of those tools and then add the social media buttons to your newsletters as well in order to continue to expand your reach. Offline, have a sign-up sheet at a cash register if you have a brick and mortar, or on registration forms for trade events, and other tools to expand your list. If you have a website, and I hope that you do, make sure that you have web sign-up tools so that people who come across you in different places on the web, whether it be your website, Facebook, or so on, that they can sign up for your newsletters right there on the spot. There are also some other great tools available. Again, if you're using Constant Contact, you can go right into your dashboard and find tools like these. Scan to join with QR codes. Text to join works very well as well. And here are some other tools that are available to enable you to expand your list. And here's best practice number 10. It may seem simple, it may seem obvious, but many organizations don't take the time to create a content calendar where they can take a look at what they've got planned and to set up a plan for use during the course of a week or a month. And this will help you lay it out in such a way that you make sure you cover all the bases and you aren't too redundant. So those are the top 10, but we have a bonus. Here's best practice number 11, and that is use autoresponders. Autoresponders are a terrific way to automate the process of staying on the radar screen of your audience. And if you haven't checked it out, here's what an autoresponder series looks like. This is an actual autoresponder that we're using right now, and an expanded view of that will show you that we have, in this particular series, we have multiple series that go out. In this particular case, an email goes out every couple of days. Take a look at the open rate and take a look at the click rate. And it's easy to get to if you look at the top of the screen. Number 1 is go to your email menu, and then number 2 is autoresponder, and number 3 is the way you create the series. It's very, very simple to do. And here's bonus best practice number 12. There are other marketing automation tools out there. They're fabulous. They're easy to use. One of our favorites is Hootsuite. And what Hootsuite does is it enables us to schedule posts on up to 50 different channels up to a year in advance. So you can set it and forget it. What we tend to do is load up all of our posts for the coming week early on Sunday morning or early on Monday morning, and that's it. And you can have Hootsuite set up even to send you an email when your posts are being sent out. 10, or actually 12 best practices. The main message is you really can do this. Just keep it simple. And so what's your next step? Well, if you're already using email marketing, fantastic, congratulations. There are lots of sources and resources out there for you. We offer our clients a lot of free help. And the reason we do that is that if we provide great service, you'll refer more people to us. So we hope that you'll become one of our VIPs And that's something that's very easy to do. We have a VIP club that's free to join. There are no membership fees. You've got great benefits, free help, and advance notice of new features that are coming. If you're interested, send me an email to get details. There's my contact information at the bottom, or if you've received an email from me in the last day or two, you'll be able to just reply to one of those emails. If you're not currently using Constant Contact, here's a special offer for you for attending today. You get 50% off the first month of a new subscription, plus we'll create a free email campaign template that matches the look of your website. That's an up to $249 value. There's the URL to go to, and you need to use that promo code June 14th. That's for new subscribers only, and the offer expires at the end of the month. You have to use that URL to get it. And also, if you subscribe today, we'll give you an hour of free coaching to help you get your newsletter out the door. So, if you need marketing help, please contact us. If you would like us to appear at one of your events in the future, we'll come to your location, drop me an email, and we'll see if we can get something in process. Our next webinar is on June 19th. You can register at that URL. You'll also get that in a follow-up email from us. If you're interested in attending one of our upcoming live seminars or other webinars, there's the URL that will take you directly to our calendar. And so we've got a few minutes left. If you have any specific questions, please click the Q&A button in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And we'll take a few moments. We'll pause to see what questions come in. I hope you have enjoyed this webinar. I'm glad that you attended, and I hope that you will attend one of our future events. So I'll stand by here for some questions. Again, use the Q&A button in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Okay, we have a question. Working with a nonprofit on a cycling event and proceeds benefit anyone who rides in an area. So many rides. How to make ours stand out? Well, the way to make it stand out, first and foremost, is to make sure that you have an attention-grabbing headline. And, you know, if it's raising money or getting exercise, staying fit, helping a specific nonprofit, those are some of the ways that you can have a great call to action. Keep the email short, have some visible imagery that shows the fun that people have at a cycling event. Maybe you can show someone that may benefit from the work that's done by the organization. And those may be a couple of simple ideas for you. If you need more help with that, please give us a call or send me an email, and we'll go ahead and talk about it. Thanks for the question. Another question is, how do you generate interest in getting membership to attend a conference through emails? Well, first, Scott, I will suggest to you that you're probably using an email list that you've already got. Generally, buying lists is not a good idea. So take advantage of the contact list that you already have and make some offer. Make it valuable for them to attend the conference. And it can be that you have a special keynote speaker, or maybe you have a drawing for anyone who stops by your table at the event. Maybe you give away an iPad or iPod. There are lots of different opportunities for you. Maybe someone who, maybe if there is a membership fee to attend or a registration fee, maybe there's a special discount for early registration. Those would be a couple of ideas that you might wish to consider. Again, give us a call and we can talk about some other ideas for you. Thank you for the question. Question here, do we provide help with graphic issues? Yes, we do. Appreciated the suggestion that the mobile format is the preferred one. Graphic sizing is an issue. A photo and a logo and the same message are perfectly okay. The idea is make sure that the size is compatible with a mobile device. There are several mobile-friendly templates that will automatically resize. They sense the device that the email is being viewed on, and so take advantage of those as well. Thank you for the question. Okay, we'll leave it open for another minute or two. Again, thank you all for attending. I hope you will join us at one of our upcoming events, and we'll go ahead and send an email out to those who registered for the event. Here again is my contact information. Feel free to give us a call. Please check out our website. Make sure you follow us on all of the social media channels that we are active on. And also, of course, be sure to send an email to us and stay in touch. We look forward to hearing from you.